So, climate change skeptics. Anthropogenic climate change is a proven fact, with at least 97% of scientists in agreement. In the scientific world, this is a significantly high consensus. The IPCC's fifth assessment report states, with a 95 degree of confidence, that humans are the main cause of global warming. And if you dig a little deeper, it says that humans have most likely caused all of the global warming over the past 60 years. So this begs the question, why are people like the US presidential candidate Donald J. Trump and many other skeptics and deniers like him still refuting global warming as being a major issue?
Do you believe in global warming, climate change? Do you think the world's going to change for the worse because it's getting warmer?
I think that there'll be little change here. It'll go up, it'll get a little cooler, it'll get a little warmer like it always has for millions of years. It'll get cooler, it'll get warmer. It's called weather. I do believe in clean, and I've received, a lot of people don't know this, I've received many environmental awards, many environmental awards for the work I do. And I believe strongly in clean water and clean air. But I don't believe that what they say, I think it's a big scam for a lot of people to make a lot of money.
Firstly, climate change is not a religion. It is not something that you can choose to believe or disbelieve. The effects are going to happen regardless of its acceptance. So the question itself is not scientifically accurate. But what can you expect from right-wing Fox News? And you see this throughout media reporting. Yes, the climate has always changed, but these previous changes occurred gradually over thousands of years and can be attributed to changes in sunspot activity and solar radiation, changes in the Earth's orbit, or increased volcanic activity. Never before have we seen greenhouse gases overriding natural oscillations and temperatures increasing at such an alarming rate. The Met Office reported 2015 to be the warmest year on record, and predictions indicate that 2016 will be even warmer. Yes, there is localised cooling in some locations, which skeptics like Trump like to capitalise on, but the overall warming trend since the Industrial Revolution cannot be ignored. But, thank goodness, at least he believes in weather. One absolutely ridiculous statement to make. Moving on to his many environmental awards, Wikipedia had no record of any environmental awards, and after researching this much further, the only award of the kind was the 2007 Environmental Protection Award from the Metropolitan Golf Association Foundation, and it was granted for the landscaping of his 11 luxury golf courses. Trump likes to claim he's an environmentalist, yet he's habitually demonstrated a limited understanding of environmentalism. For example, in June 2008, Trump travelled to Scotland to discuss his plans to construct the finest golf course in the world. And on the site, it was on the site of some environmentally fragile sand dunes that he went on to describe as kind of disgusting. This is coming from somebody that travels around in a personalised jumbo jet that has gold-plated taps in. He is probably the furthest you can get from an environmentalist. Further on in the same video, which I won't have time to show because I've got a hell of a lot to get through in a short space of time, but Trump goes on to say he wouldn't invest in alternative energy as there is an unlimited supply of fuel under our feet due to fracking, and that wind energy is destroying a lot of problems, which it doesn't even make sense. He claims that turbines are killing birds, especially the bald eagle, America's national symbol. But a study in 2014, which in itself looked at 116 other peer-reviewed studies, confirmed that turbines were way down the lists of birds' issues. In the USA, turbines kill up to 368,000 birds annually, whereas up to 3.7 billion deaths are caused by cats. Trump should really be looking at the bigger picture. He does consider solar panels though, but he quickly dismisses them as apparently they destroy themselves after 10 years. After researching this, most photovoltaic panels come with a 20-year warranty guarantee and last for longer than that, and some engineers even claim that they can last for 40 to 50 years.
In the 1920s, people talked about global cooling. I don't know if you know that or not. They thought the Earth was cooling. Now it's global warming. And actually, we've had times where the weather wasn't working out, so they changed it to extreme weather, and they have all different names, so that it fits the bill. But the problem we have, if you look at, our energy costs and all of the things that we're doing to solve a problem that I don't think in any major fashion exists. I mean, Obama thinks it's the number one problem of the world today, and I think it's very low on the list. So I am not a believer, and I will, unless somebody can prove something.
In the 1920s, they were talking about global cooling. No, completely wrong. This was talked about in the 1970s, and it was researched further to find out it wasn't true. But global warming was still being discussed at this time. As you can see from the peer-reviewed papers discussing warming and cooling between 1965 and 1979, where global warming still comes out on top. So Trump is completely flawed there, and it appears he is a master of using a large number of words to explain effectively nothing. As for the different names, this just proves that Donald hasn't read up on what the terms mean. Climate is defined as how the atmosphere behaves over long periods of time, and climate change encompasses global warming, so it is not just limited to temperature, so it's inclusive of all other factors. This just demonstrates how uneducated he is on the topic. Trump's qualifications include completing the New York Military Academy and a degree in business and economics, nothing even remotely to do with the environment. And climatology is a complex subject. He should not be making broad, uneducated statements about it. So he says, Obama thinks global warming is the number one problem of the world today, and I think it is very low on the list. What? This is a complete contradiction. He was just outright denying it, and now it still features on his list of global problems. These kinds of contradictions are so common throughout Trump's speeches and interviews on all subjects, not just climate change. And in regards to, unless somebody can prove something to me, there is overwhelming scientific evidence proving it. I'm sure if the top climate scientists in the world sat down in a room explaining it to him personally in layman terms, he still wouldn't understand, as his judgment is just too clouded by money and the fossil fuel industry.
China. China. China.
China.
China.
China.
China. China. China.
Trump is fixated with China due to their economic productivity. He claims that the concept of global warming was a hoax created by and for the Chinese in order to make US manufacturing non-competitive. He even claims that this hoax is ruining his hair, as aerosols are bad for the ozone. But if this is what your hair looks like with spraying, Mr. Trump, I think you should avoid it anyway. On a serious note, this is not just your average opinionated American. This man is in serious positions of power. The Republican is a famous face on TV. He is in the running to be the next US president, and he has investments in countless businesses and industries. He has 388,577 likes on the We Support Donald Trump Facebook page, and an even more alarming 6.21 million followers on Twitter. Granted, a percentage of them won't be supporters of his views and just intrigued to see what he has to say, but still, it is his outlandish, uneducated voice getting heard on these issues, as you can see from his feed. Of course, vocal skepticism is going to have an effect on public opinion. Americans being the least concerned about climate change is a serious issue, which, as we all know, they are one of the biggest polluters. In 2014, 18% of Republicans believed that the climate isn't changing at all, and 46% recognising the change but not attributing any responsibility to human activities. Currently, Trump is coming out on top of the election polls. On February the 17th, 2016, he had 38.8% of the vote. A large percentage of people do listen to and support him, and other skeptics, many of those also in positions of power. This has a huge influence on policies, as well as people's opinions and behaviour. Even more worryingly, a study carried out in 2012 by Josh Rosenau found that 1 in 3 American science teachers bring climate change denial into the classroom, claiming that many scientists believe that climate change is not caused by humans. And it gets even worse. Half of the surveyed teachers have allowed students to discuss supposed controversy over climate change without guiding students to the scientifically supported conclusion. As increased flooding, heat waves and food shortages kick in, it will be these children that will have to deal with the consequences. Considering this burden, you would think they deserve to be given the full facts about climate change and its causes. I know freedom of speech is important, but surely when it comes to issues like this that are proven facts and an enormous risk to humankind, what is taught in schools and featured on news broadcasts should be regulated much better so the right information is getting to the general public, rather than money and power orientated vested interest brainwashing large percentages of populations. We shouldn't have to choose between the environment and the economy.